Hello everyone, Kishan here. It's good to be back after quite some time. Hope you're all doing well. Today I wanted to make a video about a question that I often get asked on Quora and LinkedIn. And the question is usually along the lines of what can be some of the tips, some things to do to get started in pharmacovigilance in the US. So let's take a look at 7 tips that I have to offer. So first off, of course, this video is not about how to move to US from anywhere else in the world to find a job in PV, because as you can predict, the answer will be different for every person depending upon where they are currently located. Because of course, that discussion goes in a separate direction where we have to talk about logistics, available visa options, and so on and so forth. So I'll keep that discussion for another time, but let's just discuss how we can leverage our skills and knowledge to get a job in PV in the US. Also, along the way, I will tell you what strategies usually work when it comes to job hunting in PV within the US. Okay, so let's get down to it. First tip, assess where you currently stand and where to head. If you are a fresher, see if your educational credentials make you more relevant for a specific type of job in PV. For an example, if you have a background in statistics and epidemiology, you may want to start and try for jobs where you are required to perform aggregate reports, signal detection, signal management, risk management plan, positions where you can leverage your knowledge in data mining, qualitative and quantitative analysis of data. Similarly, if you have a background in quality assurance, maybe you want to start on the quality side of pharmacovigilance to begin with. But if you have just a relevant background without any particular specialization, then everything is pretty much the fair game for you. Now, similarly, if you are an experienced professional, strategize if you can already use your experience so that you don't have to start from a basic position. In both the cases, pinning down and being familiar with the job titles that are out in the market which work for you would be a good strategy. This way, you can directly search for those job titles and your search would be rendered more specific and effective. Now, having said that, always know that future transitions are possible. So if you're interested in a particular domain of pharmacovigilance, but if you're not seeing any opportunities at this point, know that getting your foot in the door is more important. Most of the companies within the US do offer opportunities for intra-company, intra-departmental transfers, and you will have a good chance of making it happen down the road if you show good aptitude for it. So basically, don't sit around waiting endlessly for the specific job opportunity that you have in mind. Just start in the field and you will get your chance of transitioning into your favorite part of the field. Okay, second tip, make a no-nonsense resume. First, start with a good template. You can easily search for free templates on Google. Some sites will offer you paid templates as well. If you like them, if you think that you haven't found anything else that is just as good, you can also decide to buy those templates. But just know that with enough looking, you might just find the right simple template that works for you. Also, keep it simple. We don't really like exotic fonts, colors, themes, or any other unnecessary elements in your resume that make it look more funky. The simple, the better. Having said that, your simple template of the resume has to be legible and easy on the eyes. Now, another thing. Avoid including sections that cover your personal life, such as marital status, your children, your hobbies, etc. These things do not belong in the resume. They will come up or they may come up in the interview, but of course, you don't need to include them in the resume as it provides no additional value. And also know that employers in the US respect your privacy, and more often than not, they're not really going to explicitly ask you whether you're married, seeing someone, engaged, etc. etc. These are not and should never be the criteria for you being hired. And when it comes to any other extracurricular activities or achievements or your hobbies that you may have which you think are impressive, just bring them up naturally in a conversation during the interview. But of course, do not advertise them on the resume unless they're absolutely relevant to the job that you're applying. Alright, the next one is pretty obvious. Upload your resume on everything under the sun. You do not want to miss out on even a single job search platform. Consider LinkedIn, Monster, Indeed, Glassdoor, ZipRecruiter, CareerBuilder, and any other platforms that I have not listed here. Basically, expand your outreach and your presence. Okay, the next important point is make a rich LinkedIn profile. I know it may seem tedious or laborious to fill out details about yourself on LinkedIn, but just take those 30-45 minutes to carefully, meticulously fill out your LinkedIn profile. In the About section, summarize what you are all about as the candidate. In the section of experience, list all of your previous positions if you have prior experience. Don't stop at writing down the job titles, but include your responsibilities associated with each position that you had in the past. Your responsibilities would be mentioned in detail in your offer letter when you were sent the offer letter for that particular position, so you can lift that part directly from the offer letter and place that into your LinkedIn profile. Now, you would have already described these responsibilities associated with your prior positions in your resume, so make sure that the responsibility description in your resume and on LinkedIn profile do match, because if there are differences to a recruiter or a hiring manager, it may just come off as disingenuous and they may think that you have updated your resume or your LinkedIn profile at the last minute and added some details that are not really factual. Of course, list your educational credentials, certificates, licenses, and any professional memberships that you may have, and try to receive endorsements for your skills and recommendations from other professionals in the industry. It's not an absolute must, of course, but if you have some connections, leverage those into getting endorsements and recommendations. Also, do not hesitate to post on LinkedIn that you are looking for a new job opportunity or you're open to new assignments, as you never know who may see your profile and recommend you for a job. It will be smart to use hashtags with your post, such as hashtag actively looking for a job, hashtag open to work, etc. These will help your post reach to a wider audience. The next step is hunt for the headhunters. So, headhunters, as you may already know, are the contract recruiters that are hired by pharmaceutical companies to go and seek the candidates. There are a number of headhunters and recruiting firms that are active in the domain of pharmacovigilance. I can name several good ones, but of course I'm not going to do that as part of the video, but it is not difficult to find. You can ask other experienced professionals in PV what headhunters to get in contact with, and of course they may already directly find you once you upload your resume on all of those job search platforms and LinkedIn. It will be wise to keep a list of such headhunters and recruiting firms with their contact details and periodically call them and check in to see if they have any new opportunities for which they've forgotten to consider you. So, never be ashamed to do such kind of cold calling. Make sure that enough number of people know that you're in the job market and you're open to new opportunities. Too many offers never really hurt anybody. The next step is obvious yet very crucial. Study and prepare for specific interviews that you may land and other relevant details around that position. So, once you get a confirmation that you have been selected for a particular job interview, make sure to read the job description very carefully. It will be always provided to you in advance. Make sure to prepare for each skill demanded in that job description. It is good to think in advance what situations you mitigated, what problems you solved, and what experiences you had where you came out on top by addressing a challenge. So already prepare 1 or 2 such examples and go for the STAR approach, meaning while you're describing these examples, first describe S as in situation, then T as in task, A as in action that you took, and then finally R as in result. Now, this will be the specific preparation that you will have to do for that job description, but I will also advise you to go beyond that and find out if there are any recent industry trends that you should be aware of. Also, I cannot stress enough that you must read relevant regulations and guidance documents surrounding your job description. You should also consider reading some good books on pharmacovigilance. Maybe consider Copert's Manual of Drug Safety and Pharmacovigilance. Now, I'm not really associated with the book or the author professionally, but of course, I'm just a big fan, so I can recommend you that book. Also, just do a Google search and see if there are any interesting blogs or articles that you may find on LinkedIn or elsewhere that might be insightful for the activities you are going to be screened on. Okay. So now that you have done all of these things carefully and landed a job prospect, I would tell you to negotiate carefully. Understand the differences between full-time and contract positions and related differences in benefit structures. Whether you are being paid on an hourly basis or with a fixed salary annually, figure out how much you stand to make. Once you do, compare that amount to salary estimations for that particular position on Glassdoor, LinkedIn, or anywhere else. This is to ensure that you're not being massively underpaid. Now, this brings me to my next point, where I would like to advise you to stay away from phony and shady agencies, meaning people who ask you for money, enrollment fees, etc. to try and help you find a job. More often than not, they are all frauds, as recruiters will always get paid once you get hired and they will not ask for money in advance. Alrighty then. So now that everything is said and done, I do have a bonus tip, and that applies after you start your job in PV. So my bonus tip is keep your mind and eyes open. And by that I mean be observant of the changes being introduced in the work environment in the company, in your team. Many a times organizational changes result in elimination of certain positions, and you may lose your job on one fine day without any hint or anticipation. So always be mindful of all the organizational changes to see if they are detrimental to your job security. Alright, I hope these tips were helpful. I will be posting more videos on various topics in pharmacovigilance, quality assurance, quality management, regulatory affairs. So please subscribe, and also in comment section, feel free to let me know if you have had any specific experiences during your job hunt in PV. As always, thank you for watching. Take care.